Yeah, okay, so there's a samurai who falls into a river in feudal Japan, and somehow, rather than just getting washed away or decomposing as you would normally do if you were a body which had fallen into a river, he becomes a completely, absolutely perfectly cryogenically preserved samurai who is then defrosted in the 1980s, and through technology which is not really explained, he is brought back to life in the 1980s, in 1980s America. And I like that. I like the way there's a couple that find this guy in a mountain in Japan, and then boom, the guy is in America. Like, there's a line, they found him and then they just shipped him over to you. Like, this guy he's the international expert on all frozen samurai. If you find a frozen samurai anywhere in the world, there's like a number you can call toll free. Like, send frozen samurais are us.
Frozen Shogun?
What else have you heard?
They found this man frozen in ice, chipped him out, and sent him to you for an autopsy.
Well, it's more than that. Much more.
Yeah, the janitor. What was that janitor about? The guy who's like, how much is your sword worth?
It's okay. Those swords, what are they worth? No, really. How much?
And then starts the whole crazy rampage by just going at him with like a plant pot or something, picked up a lamp and started swinging a lamp at a samurai. That's got to be one of the dumbest things any character's ever done in a movie. If you're a dumb janitor, and this guy looks pretty dumb, you know this guy's a 500-year-old samurai warrior with a samurai sword. Are you just going to start swinging lamps at him? Well, apparently so. And when this guy got cut in half, I think everybody was cheering. There's a few bits that dudes get cut in half in this movie. It's about the only saving grace it's got.
Yes. It's a fish out. It's kind of your typical. Everyone's seen the classic movie trope of the frozen guy or creature being defrosted in many years into the future, or just in an alien environment to them, and generally they result in like a lot of crazy hijinks. There's some great movies that are like this, but they never cashed in on any of them here. It's the most relaxed fish out of water film I've ever seen. He's 500 years in ice and thaws out in modern day in finger quotes, because obviously this was filmed in the 80s.
Well, you can tell how modern day it is when you see the television.
Yes.
No one dresses.
There's cars, there's people everywhere, and he's totally fine with it. He's walking about, he's like meets up with that old guy, and they're just kind of kicking about, fighting crime. He's got no problems at all. There's no culture shock whatsoever displayed here.
Well, he looks a bit surprised, and then there's a bit where he throws a stone at a parked car and then bursts its tyres. And there's also a bit where he almost gets run over by a Trans Am full of shouty men. And then, straight into, vigilante justice against these kind of unwashed street punks. And that's the peak of the movie, is when he's chasing these guys about in a kind of warehouse place. I think it's supposed to be an old cinema, but it's not really made clear. Yeah, he saves an old man from getting stabbed up and then chops off a guy's arm. And I like the fact that when he's fighting these guys and he chops off one of their arms, which is cool. you know, you're a samurai, you're fighting street punks, you know, a few limbs should be severed. But I just thought it was very, you know, considerate of him to chop off the guy wearing the checked shirt, chop off his arm, rather than chop off the guy with the vest, where they would have had to build an actual proper effect for it. But yeah, that's the problem with the movie, is that you get this conflict, and you think, okay, good, right, there's going to be, these guys are going to have a boss, and there's going to be the usual scenes of a warehouse full of cocaine and Uzis, and it's going to be, this dude's going to start jumping about, and there's going to be bam, 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 and there's going to be explosions, and then, nah.
You gotta be kidding me. Sayonara, sucker.
But then nothing really happens. It doesn't really matter. The police get involved.
Detective Burger, please.
Burger, it's not here. Can I take a message?
The samurai and Chris have been kidnapped, taken to the institute.
Samuel Watt's been taken where?
And then there's like a story of suddenly the guy who did defrost him turns on him. And there's sort of little glimmers of hope that there's going to be some kind of interesting story here, but it doesn't really feel like it goes anywhere. They go on the run for a little while, and
there's a couple of funny moments. There's the bit when he jabs the guy through the front of the van, like the whole wrestling thing in the van. That was quite funny.
Yeah,
it was unintentionally quite funny.
Yeah, there's one scene that typifies this whole movie for me, and that's quite near the end, where Yoshi, the samurai, is missing in the woods, and the woman whose name I totally forget asks the cop if he's escaped or if they've found him or something, and he says, "Oh, don't worry, he's got away, but we'll have this all wrapped up before dark."
Nah, they'll get him. We'll have this wrapped up before dark.
It is fucking dark.
Yeah.
What was he said to you?
Don't make a sequel.
But that's nothing compared to the horrors that lurk beneath the trapdoor. For there is always something down there, in the dark, waiting to come out.